Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to another lesson. And today we're going to be talking about compound nouns. But first, let me say hi to everybody. Today is Friday. Some people love Fridays. It's the end of the work week for some people. And today is, let's see, April 2nd. Maybe you know something about English culture. April 1st, we call this April Fool's Day. April Fool's Day. A fool means a stupid person, right? April Fool's Day. This is April 1st. And so on April 1st, sometimes people like to play some jokes and they like to try to make you believe something that's not true and then say, oh, it's just April Fool's Day. I didn't do that yesterday, but sometimes I remember a few years ago on the radio, they announced that they were giving away something for free. And the first person who comes to a place in the city will get the prize. And so they told everyone the address of this place. People go there and there's nothing there. And they call and they say, oh, I'm here. Where's the prize? They say, oh, it's April Fool's Day. So sometimes people play these jokes, but today's April 2nd, so it's not April Fool's Day. But yesterday was. Great. Today we're going to be talking about compound nouns, and we're going to talk a little bit about phrasal verbs at the end, because phrasal verbs are very confusing, and next lesson we will talk more about them, so we might start that today. Great. I see that we have Safa with us, Abdo, Amira, Aisha, Sarabide. Great. Welcome, everybody. So, what are compound nouns? First of all, compound nouns. What's a noun? A noun is usually a person, a place, a thing, or an idea. And hi, Aida. And so we have compound nouns. These are things that have two words. Things with two words. We put these two words together, and this is a compound noun. So sometimes we have a noun and a noun. Sometimes we have a noun and a hyphen, and then a noun. And sometimes we have just a noun, and they are two different words, right? All three of these things are compound nouns. Anytime that we put two nouns together. I see an example here, underground, but under is an adjective, right? And underground is an adjective. Usually, we could say the underground, like the metro, the subway in London, right? That's the tube, but the underground is like the subway in British English, right? So that could be a noun. So, okay, some examples of a compound noun. English teacher. This is a compound noun, English teacher. Usually in a compound noun, the second noun is the real noun. And the first noun is like an adjective. It gives us some more information about the second noun. The first noun gives more information about the second noun. So if I say English teacher, then this tells you that I'm a teacher. It doesn't tell you that I'm English, right? Or that it doesn't tell you anything about English. It tells you something about teacher. It tells you what type of teacher it is. Another example is school bus. School bus. So what kind of bus? It's a bus for school, right? So this noun is not about school, it's about bus. And school tells us what type of bus. So with compound nouns, we have a pronunciation rule. This rule is correct about 90% of the time. So 9 out of 10 situations, this rule works. Sometimes it doesn't work though, but usually it does. The rule is that we stress the first noun. We stress the first noun. So we say English teacher, school bus, coffee machine, coffee maker, church leader. So like almost any combination of these words that you can think of, they work like this, almost all. Let's see what else. Chocolate bar. The soap that you use on your hands in the shower. This might be a hand soap, right? Or if we have to wear a uniform for school, school uniform. So it can be lots and lots of different things, right? Dining room, this is a good example. Right, what kind of room? For dining. Great. So this is the main idea, the main thing we should remember when we are talking about compound nouns. There's not really a good rule for when we should use a hyphen and when we should have one word and when we should have two words. There's not really a good rule for this. Just some compound nouns are written with a space, with a hyphen, or with nothing. So we just have to remember those things. Like, for example, school bus, this is usually two words, but school boy or school children, this is usually one word. Why? I don't know. We just have to remember some of these things. Another thing that can be kind of confusing, Aida says eggplant. I'm not sure if this is, it looks like a compound noun, right? But I'm not sure because this is just one thing. So it's not like it's a plant made of eggs, right? Maybe it was a compound noun originally. Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure, but it looks like it too. And we pronounce it the same way, eggplant. Yeah. Great. So something that's confusing sometimes is when we should use a hyphen. Usually we use a hyphen to connect words that don't usually go together, especially if we have a long phrase of many nouns. Like, I can say, like, today's a great day. Today's a wonderful day. Today is a jump out of bed and enjoy life day. It's a jump out of bed and enjoy life day. If we make a phrase like this, then we can use hyphens to put all the words together so it's one idea, it's one concept, right? And so now jump out of bed and enjoy life, this is like an adjective. What kind of day? A jump out of bed and enjoy life day. So typically we use hyphens for things like this, where we're putting these ideas together so that it's one concept, right? You probably remember talking about like a 19-page book, right? Where we use the hyphen with the number and the noun. We don't say 19 pages book. We say 19-page book. Here, 19-page, this is one idea. And it's an adjective that talks about the next noun, right? Which is interesting because it's the same rule when we have regular compound nouns. Like when we say school bus, we don't say school's bus. We don't say that. Maybe this bus goes to 5 different schools, but it's still a school bus, not a school's bus, right? Just like here, we have a 19-page book, not 19 pages book, because this is like an adjective. It's giving us more information about the next noun. It's not the main noun. And so we always use it as singular, as one. If we speak, using a different kind of sentence, then we might say that how many pages are in the book? 19 pages. How many schools does the bus go to? 5 schools. Right? But when we change these words to use them as an adjective to describe and say more information about the noun, then we don't have S. It's just one. Here's some good examples. Hometown. This is a good example of a compound noun. My hometown. Mother language. This is another one. Mother language or native language or first language. We could also say mother tongue. To mean language. In most situations in English, we don't say tongue about language, but you can. But we don't usually say it. Let's see, another good one, social media. Social media. Is it the same thing? A 25-year-old woman? Yes. Like 19-page book, 25-year-old woman, right? Not years. But how many years has she been alive? 25 years. Because she's a 25-year-old woman. And we don't even have to say woman for this. We can say she is a 25-year-old. And person, we understand it's a 25-year-old person. So we can say, oh, she's a 25-year-old, so she doesn't know what happens when you're 30 or something like this. Or look at all these 25-year-olds. Great. Ice age, that's another good one. Hardware, software. Yeah. Another one with numbers, 7-meter car. Yes. Great examples. All right. I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask a question, and you try to decide what compound noun is the answer to this question. Okay. So first question, and whoever knows the answer, you can turn your microphone on and you can say the answer. You don't have to raise your hand. Okay. First question is, what do you use to pay for things that you buy on the internet?
Credit card. Credit card.
Yeah. A credit card, right. A credit card. Good. Okay, next. Where do you catch a train?
Train station.
Yeah, the train station. Yeah. What does Steven Spielberg do?
He's a film director.
Yeah, film director. Good. Let's see, next. What do you call the time of day when trains and buses are completely full?
Rush hour.
Yeah. Rush hour. Good. I'm going to write some of these on the board. This is rush hour. This is also when there's lots of cars on the road, right? The most cars on the road. It's called rush hour. I see we have another example, River Nile. Usually we just say the Nile, or we say the Nile River, not River Nile. Nile River, usually. And Amira is from Egypt. Have you been to the Nile River, Amira?
Hi, Chris.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. No, I have never been in the River Nile. To the Nile River. Yeah.
To the Nile River?
Yeah.
You've never been to the Nile. So, we have this rule that when we speak about rivers, we can just say and the name of the river, like the Amazon or the Obe or the Mississippi. Yeah. But maybe if you're watching films or listening to audio or a video on YouTube, someone might make a joke about the Nile. It sounds sometimes in English, when some people pronounce this, it sounds like denial. The Nile, denial. This is, the verb to deny. To say that something is not true, or like, for example, I take the marker and Mike, my friend Mike, he takes my marker. I say, oh, where's my marker? John says, Chris, I think Mike took your marker. I say, no, Mike is such a good guy. He could never take my marker. John says, Chris is in denial. Right? Chris is in denial. He's denying. He's not facing this truth. He's denying. He says that it's not true. And sometimes people in films or in audio will make a joke about somebody doesn't believe it. They are in a river in Egypt. They're in denial. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's a joke, but it's a stupid English joke, like always. Abdo, yeah.
Yes, hello, Chris. I want to ask about specific expressions. When we say remark, rematch, remarkable, so what we can call these expressions? Is there any definition for these?
Yeah. So we have two.
Ex-husband.
Do you have another example?
Ex-wife also, ex-husband.
Ex. Okay.
Yes.
And you said ex, something else?
Ex-husband. It's the same. It's the same.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So rematch and ex-wife, these are examples of prefixes. A prefix. It's a first part of a word that we add, and it has a special meaning. Like Re usually has two meanings if it's a prefix. It means again, like rematch means another match, the same match again. Sometimes re as a prefix also means backwards. Like in your car, you have reverse.
Reverse.
Or if you have a VHS tape, an old tape to watch a film before
Rewind.
DVD, then you rewind backwards. So this is an example of a prefix. Remarkable this is not a prefix. This is part of the root of the word, the main part of the word, because there's a verb to remark, right? Maybe we could say that this is also some kind of prefix, mark and again mark, but we don't really use it like that. It's more of a verb that became an adjective. Instead of here, it's a separate part of the word. It's a prefix. And ex-wife is also the same. We have ex as a prefix, but for example, the word expensive. This is not a prefix. This is part of the main word. Yeah. And this is a good question about ex because we can say ex-wife, ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend, ex-husband, but we don't usually say ex-friend or ex-president or ex-boss. Instead, we say former. My former boss, my former employer, the former president. Ex is about these personal or romantic relationships, usually. Awesome. Great question. Colin wrote X equals former. Yeah. Hi, Colin. Yeah, great. So back to our questions. I'm asking some questions and you're trying to answer them with compound nouns. So the next question, what should you put on when you get into a car? What should you put on when you get into? Sorry? Safety belt or a seat belt? Yeah, safety belt or a seat belt. Yeah. Usually in the car, we call them seat belt, but safety belt, like I see lots of companies that say safety belt, like on an airplane or a bus or, yeah, it's the same. Next, what do you call a big shop that sells everything? A big shop.
Supermarket.
Supermarket, okay, maybe. What else?
Hypermarket.
Hypermarket, okay. Any other ideas?
I don't know. Maybe we can say some brands like Walmart or
Department store.
oh yes.
Department store. Supermarket in English is usually different. It's like a grocery store. Like most people go there to buy food. So sometimes they have some clothes and some other things, but usually it's more like with food and that stuff. But a department store has different departments. The clothing department, the electronics department, right, like Walmart or some of these big, maybe a different shop is better in Europe or a different Auchan or something like this, right? Yeah. What else? Okay, where do you play tennis?
At the tennis court.
Yeah, tennis court. What do you need before you can get on a plane?
passport and documentation, maybe visa sometimes.
Okay. And after you register,
Air ticket.
air ticket. Okay.
Boarding pass.
Boarding.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. We might call this a plane ticket, an air ticket, a boarding pass. Right. All of these are compound nouns. Next, what's the opposite of a private school?
Community
Pub-
school.
Public school.
Public school.
Public. Yes.
Yeah.
So community school, it's not maybe community for college.
Yeah, for college, a community college. Mhm.
Yes.
Let's see. Where do you buy petrol?
Petrol station or gas station.
Petrol station, gas station, exactly. And in the United States, usually we say gas. In the UK, usually they say petrol.
Yes.
Mhm. I know gas is a strange word in American English because it can mean it can mean any gas. Yeah. Great. Next. And then also, of course, there's gas, there's petrol, but there's also another kind of, these are kinds of fuel, things that give us energy, right? Like I need to eat food, so I have energy. So we can say that food is my fuel, right? Gas gives energy to the car. So we can say gas or petrol, but then we also have another kind of fuel for bigger cars, trucks, right? Called diesel. So yeah, it's the same. Okay, next. I mean, this is also about gas. Next, what do you call the noise a phone makes when someone calls you? Phone, a noise makes when someone calls you.
Calling.
Almost. Ring
Call.
tone. A ringtone.
Oh,
I know this is old-fashioned already. This is old news because today people don't usually download a ringtone or right? It's different. In fact, I keep my cell phone on vibrate always. I never turn on the sound, so I don't even know what my ringtone is. But funny story about ringtones. One time I was on a small bus in Russia, and this man gets on the bus, and he was really big, had these big muscles. His head was shaved. He was wearing these really dark glasses, and he had a tattoo of a gun on his head, of an AK on his head. He had a tattoo, and I'm sitting there on the bus, and I was new in Russia, and I didn't know what to think. I'm thinking, wow, this guy looks scary, right? And so we start riding, and somebody calls him. His phone starts ringing, and his ringtone is a song with English words, and the words go, "Fly like a woman, like you do, like a woman, like you are, like a woman, you're a woman." And I started laughing so hard. I thought, wow, this guy who looks so scary has this really funny ringtone about being a woman. And I thought it was really funny. So this is ringtone. Okay, next question. What do you call a long line of cars that can't move?
limo.
Traffic jam. Yeah, a line of cars. Like on the road when the cars can't move. This is a traffic jam, right? Traffic jam. To jam something, this can be a verb. This is when we when we push something in a place where nothing more can go. Like maybe I'm pointing to something on the board or on the wall, and I push my finger too hard. I can hurt my finger. I could jam my finger. For example, jam can also be about music. When you play something and you're not really prepared for this music, you play in a group. Maybe you have a guitarist and a bassist, bass guitar, and a drummer, and they don't know what song they will play together, and they just start playing some music, right? This is just, they're just jamming, to jam. Maybe you know a famous Bob Marley song called Jammin'. Abda, yeah, you have a question?
Yes, Chris, I want to ask about three expressions: noise or noisy, car gauge, mess. So car gauge, maybe when we have messy situation or a lot of noise. So what's the difference?
Sorry, you said
We have to use it.
garbage, you said?
Car gauge. Car gauge.
I don't know this word.
When
Cargo?
some accident. No. When some accidents happen and you say there is a lot of car gauge here. I can't hear anything.
Maybe carnage?
I don't know, maybe when messy situations, some cars had accidents, something like that, you can use this word in that situation. Car gauge, maybe carnage, I don't know. It's something like messy situation.
Maybe damage.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know this word cargage. I don't know this word.
So we use it when something happened on the street, a huge accident, many cars in the accident, and maybe you are calling someone and you can't hear anything.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of noise around.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure.
No problem. Maybe I didn't pronounce the word correctly.
Maybe you can write it in the chat.
Actually, I heard it in movies. Just I don't have the spelling.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure, but coming back to traffic jam. So the word traffic also, sometimes people are confused about traffic because traffic is about movement. So what's the difference if I tell you there's traffic, there is traffic, it's uncountable. There is traffic. What's the difference if I say there is traffic or if I say there is a traffic jam? Jam is countable. Traffic. What's the difference?
So there is a traffic means a lot of cars are running or driving. Maybe it's normal. I mean, there is not a lot of traffic. But there is a traffic jam means we are stuck in that place or in that road. We are not moving quickly. We are moving so slowly.
Yeah, you're right. So there's a traffic jam, because it's countable. There's a traffic jam. This means that we're not moving. Exactly, you're right. And there's traffic, uncountable without a. There's traffic. This means that there's a lot of cars, there's movement on the street, but this does not mean that we are not moving. Right. So, so after you drive for a long time, maybe you need to drive 1 hour to go see your friend who lives in a different place. And when you arrive, your friend says, "How was the traffic? How was the traffic?" And I might say, "Oh, it was great. There wasn't any traffic at all. There wasn't a lot of movement of cars. There were not a lot of cars on the street. Yeah, not much. There's not much traffic today." And of course, traffic is uncountable, so not much,
Yeah.
right? But if we say traffic jam, then this is one place where the cars stopped moving. Great. Traffic can also be not only about cars, it can be about feet. And we call this foot traffic. If you ever try to open up a shop, like a small business, then you want to find a shop that has a lot of foot traffic. You want to find a shop where many people will walk in front of this shop because many people will see the shop then, right? So you can say there's a lot of foot traffic, or you could also say it's a high traffic area, a lot of movement, a lot of people.
So also we can say pedestrians only when we just not allowed to drive, pedestrians only.
Yeah, a pedestrian zone, pedestrian area. Yeah. A pedestrian is a person who walks. Person who walks, not in a car. All right, this is a pedestrian. Ped, meaning foot. Pedestrian, like pedicure or pedal on a bicycle. Pedestrian. Yeah, person who's walking. Great. Traffic. So we talked about traffic. It's a noun. It's uncountable. We can also have a traffic jam. That's countable. Can also have a verb. To traffic. And to traffic means that to traffic means that you sell something. You move something from one place to another place and sell it. And we use this a lot about criminal activity, about illegal activity, like drug trafficking or human trafficking, moving and selling people, human trafficking. So here is the verb. You might notice that the verb has the letter K at the end. Some people forget that, even native speakers, but yeah. There's also a movie called Traffic. Yeah. Excellent. Okay, so we were talking about compound nouns, and I told you that today we'll also, I think compound nouns are relatively easy because you just put the two words together, stress the first word, and we're done, right? More or less. So next, let's start our talk about phrasal verbs. On Monday, we're going to have a full lesson about phrasal verbs, but today I wanted to start because there's so much information about phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs, I think from my 11 years of teaching English, or however many years, 12 years of teaching English, probably the three biggest problems, the three hardest parts of English are present perfect, articles, and phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs are really hard. So they're really hard. Let's talk about why people think phrasal verbs are hard. First of all, they're hard because every phrasal verb, almost every phrasal verb, has two meanings or more. These meanings we can separate into the directional meaning or the metaphoric meaning, right? A metaphor, this is when we are creative and we say that one thing is something different. So maybe I see a girl with blue eyes and I say, her eyes are the ocean. Now, her eyes are not really an ocean, but this is a metaphor that tells us that her eyes are very blue, right? So it's some way for us to be creative in writing or in speech. And phrasal verbs do this a lot. We can look at, for example, stand up. This is just up, a direction, right? But then we also have stand up for. Stand up for something. This means to fight for the thing that you believe. Maybe Mike says, John took the marker. John took the marker. John says, I didn't do it. And I say, I know John. John doesn't take things. John didn't take the marker. I stand up for John. I believe that he is right. And I speak about, I fight for the thing that is right, right? So to stand up for something. If someone tells you that you're not good, you should stand up for yourself, for example. There's another Bob Marley song where it's called, I think it's called Stand Up. It's called, he says, get up, stand up for your rights. Like fight for your rights, the things that you should be able to do. So this is like a metaphor. Yes, maybe you're sitting down and they say, you're not good, and you stand up. But that's not really what we're talking about, right? You're standing up and taking action. So this is one reason why phrasal verbs are difficult, because usually there's at least two meanings, directional and metaphoric. Another reason why phrasal verbs are difficult is because native speakers think they're easy. Native speakers of English who have never studied other languages, or maybe ones who have studied other languages, they think phrasal verbs are easy because the words are very small. Right? Everybody knows what pick means, and everybody knows what up means. So of course, when I say I picked up a girl at the bar, it means that I found a girl and asked her to go to my house. This is to pick up. You probably know pick up. You've probably heard this phrase before. But this is a strange thing, right? Pick and up, and how is it connected? So, but for a native speaker, he's thinking, oh, pick, it's a small word. Instead of choose, instead of eliminate the others, instead of some other big word, he uses a small word, and he thinks that this will be easier. Like, for example, if someone has a low level of English, then a native speaker might think, it's better for me to say, go on, not continue, because the words are smaller. Everybody knows go and everybody knows on. But we know that because all of the people here who are watching have studied more than one language. You've studied your first language, you've studied English. You understand that continue is probably easier. continue comes from Latin, and it's probably similar to something in your language, or it's probably easier to understand. So most native speakers who haven't studied other language, they don't know that. So a smaller word seems easier to them, and they use a lot of phrasal verbs. Another reason that phrasal verbs are difficult is because there's some special rules about how they can move in the sentence. There are some phrasal verbs that the words can move, and for some they can't move, and we have to remember that. There's a rule about it, but it doesn't help us so much. Okay, Abdo has a question here.
Yes, Chris. In some movies, I heard kiss ass. So kick ass. So it has different meanings. So if I can say, I will go forward in my work and I will kick ass my career. So sometimes is that a kick-ass location or a kick-ass house. So it means a good house or very spacious or something like a beautiful house. So is it a phrasal verb? And sometimes we can say, let's kick this man's ass. So we can hit someone. So 3 or 4 different meanings. So is it a phrasal verb or?
It's not a phrasal verb. It's not a phrasal verb, but it's a good question. Yeah, so first of all, I should remind everybody who's watching with us today and on YouTube that the word ass is a bad word in English. So all of these phrases, it's better not to say them if you're with someone who is sensitive to bad words. It's not a very, very bad word like the F word, but it's bad. It's instead of ass, we can say butt with double T. And this is not a bad word, and it's the same part of the body. Okay, but to kick someone's butt or to kick someone's ass, this means to fight them and hurt them a lot. This is one meaning. But if we just say to kick ass in general, this means like to do a really good job, to win. Like I don't know, how was your week at work? Oh, I kicked ass this week. I did a lot of good stuff. I did a lot of cool things. And then there's an adjective, kick-ass. Like you said, a kick-ass house, a kick-ass TV show. This means like really cool, awesome. Or someone might say, hey, look at my new car. Oh, kick-ass. Oh, awesome. Oh, cool. Wow. Yeah.
So yeah. It's not a phrasal verb. It's not.
No. Yeah, I'd say it's more like slang.
Slang, yes.
Awesome. Cool. Great question. And I see another question that Abdo had about stand still. If it's one word, then it's an adjective, and this could be about traffic. Stand still traffic. This means the same as a traffic jam. Right? It means no one's moving. If it's 2 words, stand still, then this is a verb. To stand. And stand how? Stand without moving. Stand still. My daughter, when I'm trying to put her shoes on her, she's moving everywhere and I'm trying to put the shoe on. I say, stand still, stand still. Like stop moving. And here's another one, stuck. To be stuck or to get stuck. This means to be in a place where we cannot we can't move. Like if you're in an elevator or a lift and the lift stops moving up or down, then you call and you say, hey, I am stuck. To be, I am stuck in the lift. I am stuck in the elevator. Or if we're driving and there's a traffic jam, we might say, I'm going to be late. I am stuck in traffic. I'm stuck in traffic. Colin asks about phrasal verb to butt out. I'm not so sure, but there is a phrasal verb to butt in. To butt in, this means like Mike and John are having a conversation and I hear what they're saying. And in the middle of their conversation, I come into the conversation. I say, oh, excuse me, I know the answer to that question. I butted in. Yeah. And Mike looks at me, he says, I don't care if you know the answer, don't butt in. Right? This is another way to say to interrupt. To interrupt. And this verb is probably closer to whatever you have in your language because rupt is about breaking something. So usually in most languages, we have a verb about breaking the conversation, right? Breaking something in the middle of the conversation. So interrupt, to break in the middle. Good questions. So back to phrasal verbs. We talked about some reasons why phrasal verbs are difficult. And so let's talk about the way that we should study phrasal verbs to make it easier. Next time we'll talk about some grammar of phrasal verbs. But if you're studying phrasal verbs, there are some special books. There are phrasal verb dictionaries. And they can help you understand the different meanings of different phrasal verbs. But again, most phrasal verbs have many different meanings. So it can be difficult still. The mistake that most people make when they're learning phrasal verbs is that they try to learn every combination of verb plus particle. Verb plus particle. This is a phrasal verb. Verb plus particle. So for example, get in, get on, get off, get around, get through. These are all different phrasal verbs. And usually the mistake that people make is they say, okay, I need to learn everything with get. So they study get on, get around, get through. And then it's like, because each of these combinations has like 5 or 6 different meanings. And then how do you remember that? So the better way to study phrasal verbs is focus on the particle, learn the particles, don't learn the verbs. Don't learn everything with get. Instead, learn everything with on. And you'll see that on only has maybe 5 or 6 different meanings. And now you connect on with any verb, and it usually has those same meanings. Right? Like go on is continue. And if we say we walked on, we continued walking. We ran on, we continued running. Sure, in other situations, on has a different meaning too. So it's not always about continuing. But if we just focus on the small word meaning, then usually we can add this to many different verbs and use it like this. My favorite example is with up. One of the meanings of up is to start doing something. And another meaning of up is to do something more or faster. So you go to your friend's house for dinner and they put some food on the table in front of you. You're the only person at the table. You're waiting for everyone else like a good guest. And the person looks at you and says, you don't need to wait. Eat up. Eat up. Start eating, or eat more, or eat faster. Eat up. You're at a bar with your friend and you've just got a new drink, and the bartender says, we are closing in 5 minutes. Your friend looks at you and he says, drink up. Like, let's start drinking, or let's drink more, or let's drink faster. It doesn't mean that we drink all the way to the bottom or all the way to the end. It doesn't mean that. It means start drinking, or drink more, or drink faster. Right? Maybe I'm drinking very slowly and he says, come on, we have to go, drink up. Right? What about hurry up? To hurry means to go faster. So when we say hurry up, it means start going faster, or go faster, faster. Right? So there's a lot of these different meanings. Here's a good one. Abdo just wrote look up, and this has a different meaning, right? To look something up means to find it in a database. To look something up. We might look something up in a dictionary. Teachers usually say, if you don't know what this word means, look it up in the dictionary. Maybe you want to go to the cinema, but you don't know what time the film starts. You can look it up on their website. There's a database. There's a place with all of this information. And if you go there, you can use this information to find the thing that you need. Like a dictionary, or like a list of times, or something else. Check up. Yeah, so check up could be a few different things, right? Like, I haven't heard from John in a few days. I think I'll go to his house and check up on him. Just to check, right? To check and see how it's going. Check up. You might go to the doctor's office for a checkup, a routine checkup. A routine checkup. This is when the doctor just looks at you. Maybe you don't feel bad. Maybe you feel healthy. You just go to the doctor and he looks at you and checks, right? To see if you're okay. Verify. This would probably not be check up, but just check. Or maybe even check out in some situations. Check. Verify is like check. Is this true? I don't know. Let me check. Great. Okay, so yeah, so the main thing that I wanted to say today is that when we study phrasal verbs, it's important to pay attention to the meanings of the particles, of the small words: on, around, above, over, under. And this comes back to another important thing to remember when you're studying English. A lot of times, native speakers create new words. They create new words that don't exist, or they break the rules. But when they break rules and when they create new words, they follow other rules to do this. There are rules about how a native speaker can break a rule. Maybe the native speaker doesn't know this, but there's some limits, there's some rules, because if you change some words in a different way, then no one will understand what it should mean. But when we understand the meaning of the particle, then we can start using this with words, even if it's not a real word, even if it's not a real phrasal verb that people usually say, then we can use it and people will understand us. So it's really useful to know it. It's really useful. So excellent. Here's another good example. Speak up, because we were talking about up before. To speak up. If you know the answer, you should speak up. You should start speaking, or you should speak louder. Up can also mean more, right? Or louder. Like when we turn the music up, make it louder. Right? Excellent. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming to the lesson today. On Monday, we will be talking more about phrasal verbs. And that's a good one, Abdo. He wrote, light it up. Light it up. This could be about smoking, for example, when you have a cigarette or whatever you smoke, and you use a lighter to start the fire, right? Light it up. To light something is to start a fire. To light a cigarette, to light a cigar. Abdo, yeah.
Yes, Chris. Actually, I think also in some situations we can use it when we have a party and the singer are singing, and some of these people say light it up. So make it something like so energy. We need some energy. We need to maybe to dance, to sing, something like that. So make it very strong.
We might use fire up for that also.
Fire up.
To start something and to add energy. Yeah. And if we say, like, maybe I'm really excited, I'm speaking very quickly, I have a lot of energy, we could say, wow, Chris is really fired up today. He is fired up. Or maybe somebody says, sorry.
Great, thanks for the addition.
Yeah, great. And light up could also be other things too, right? Like in the military, in the army, they might say, in a film about soldiers, the leader of the soldiers might say, light it up. And it means like start shooting. Like, right? This could also be like to light something or someone up. Also, there's like a slang meaning to be lit. From to light something, light, lit. And to be lit, this usually means that someone's drunk, or they it's usually about drinking alcohol. Great. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming to the lesson today. On Monday, we will be back 9 a.m. New York time on Facebook. We'll be live on Facebook. Thank you so much for joining us today. Gigi, Kalin, Sarabide, Amira, Safa, Aida, Aisha, and Abdul.
Thank you.
We actually have only a few lessons left. We have 4 lessons after today, 4 lessons left in our intermediate English program. And that means our last lesson will be Friday, April 16th. So I'm really excited that we're almost finished with our program. And Colin said 9. Oh, I said 9 o'clock. Sorry, everybody. 8 a.m. New York time on Monday. We will be live on Facebook. And then next Friday at 8 a.m. New York time, we will be live on YouTube. Thanks again for everyone who watched here and on YouTube today, and have a wonderful weekend.